Hello everyone, FLR here, and welcome to the second episode of our modded, excuse me, our modded survival series in Space Engineers. Um, last time, we started on a base, got a few things up and running, sort of just got our feet, hit the ground running, got our feet moving. I don't know exactly where that sentence was going. But anyway, I played a bit in the meantime just to get things rolling, get things set up. As you can see, I have a small sort of transport exploration ship here. There's still a ramp block there. That's got, an ore detector and spotlights and stuff like that. Just a really simple ship to go to ore patches and bring the ore back. It's not a mining ship. That'll be next. Then you can see I added upgrades to the assemblers and the refinery. We went and mined in between episodes a fairly significant amount of iron. And then we installed these two cargo containers. And then another big thing I did is installed TIM. Now TIM stands for Talent as Inventory Manager, or Management. I'm not 100% sure on that one. It's a script that manages your inventory, as it says. And it's really, really incredibly useful. Once I have it all set, once I have the cargo containers labeled properly with the TIM tag, and the right components, or the right inventory item, these cargo containers will just suck everything out of the assemblers and refineries into there, and then it inventories it nicely in on these various screens. Now, other than that, we repainted the base, as you can see, in a color that goes a little bit more with the snow. I need to repaint that. Yeah, but I should do it. So yeah. We added these cargo containers because we were running out of cargo space on the base. Just with all the kind of junk we have in it. But otherwise we didn't, we made some progress in between the last episode and this episode. But I think in this episode what we're gonna do is find all of our steel plate, and since we don't have very much, we're gonna make another couple thousand. And I'm gonna start filling this out again. So let's see, how many blocks? So there are two. So 6 blocks in between those, and I need space for 3 build and repairs here. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So every 7 blocks, right? So 1, 2, 3. Oh, we gotta get up here. Doesn't work. Alright. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, okay. 1, so we'll do it this way, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're actually going to put that in 1 block. Now we need to go get some interior plate, of which we don't have a whole lot. Got a little bit, so I'll queue up 1,000 interior plate as well. So we'll slap that there, and there, and there. You know, I just realized that those cargo containers are going to need to go down 1 block more. If we're going to keep this area at the same level. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But anyway, so as you can see, I have kind of a, I guess, an airfield sort of idea going here. I think what I'm going to do is raise that block up so that the angled block meets up with that, so that we don't have kind of this weird, really thin spot there that just looks kind of weird. And then eventually the underside of this area, this is supposed to be kind of a hangar, overly large, but you know, that's the idea in mind. And so then this back half over here, eventually, once everything is ready to go, that back half is going to be a, like the production area. Underneath the floor of the hangar will be storage. Eventually I'm going to have 6 cargo containers, because that's what you need to store everything individually. I don't have that much, I'm not going to need that much storage at this point. But I'd rather have it and not use it than not have it and need it. So, we'll have 6 car containers eventually. Okay, that is going to let me put that there. And I'm going to go ahead and just wall off a big chunk of this right now. Just simply be... Not that, though. So that I don't have to do it later. Essentially. Alright. So, under the base has been kind of our ice mine area. We'll need to mine a little bit more out anyway, so I figured I might as well mine some ice here. And try and get whatever resources out of it that I can, you know what I mean? So, to that end... Okay, this is going to be a problem here. I don't think that I'm going to be able to reach all the way to place the right number of blocks, but we'll see. Anyway, so what these spots are for are the build and repair nanobot systems, which are basically going to build my base for me. That's the idea here, is that as the base expands, so will the number of build and repair systems. And those build and repair systems are real handy. It's a mod. If you're familiar with the nanites, the nanite control factory, I think is what it's called. It's a similar mod, but in my opinion, a little bit less full-on cheat mode. Like, it doesn't make the resources for you. It doesn't, it basically only grinds, welds, and picks stuff up off the ground. Doesn't do anything else than that. Whereas the nanite machine has quite a few functions, and it's significantly more powerful. It's got like 4 or 5 times the range of this. It's like 5 times the speed, maybe. So it's just significantly more powerful, and I decided, actually in my last, well, not series, I didn't record that, but in my last kind of playthrough that I decided that I didn't want to be quite that cheatsy. And so I switched to using the nanobot machines, because they're more balanced. So, that's why I'm using the nanobot. Oh, what do you need now? That's why I'm using the nanobot machine. And that obnoxious noise that you probably recognize from when you're out of resources and trying to weld means that this is missing something. And in this case, it appears to be steel plate. So, storage, this was just sort of set up real quick to get kind of shit out of the way. So I'm going to need to move it here. This has 500 interior plate in it. So, now we're going to demonstrate another function of the build and repair system. And I can't remember if I did this yesterday at all. But when I paint that pink, that color, particular hideous color of pink, and my game freezes. Also, the game freezing means that something has spawned from the corruption mod. Now, the SPRT is not, I believe, is not from the corruption mod. The corruption mod stuff, for the most part, will have the corrupt tag in place of, like, the SPRT. You can see that. SPRT period transport courier. The corrupt mod will have corrupt in front of all of it, and most of their stuff is combat drones kinds of things. So it's going to be much more. It'll be obvious what mod it comes from. Now these, I believe, are from the planetary. What's it called? Planetary activity or some traffic. Planetary traffic. That's what it's called. And then from the planetary cargo ships mod. I haven't tested very many. There are a couple of mods that will work when you have the planetary air traffic mod installed, will spawn various things like that. Now, like I said, I haven't tested all of them. I've only tested one of them at this point. The one being the one that I'm currently using on the server. So this is gonna have to come out a little bit further, I think. I don't know if that's gonna let me place that there. But anyway, and so it just adds more excitement, I guess, to the game. I mean, you have an enemy that you're, working against, and then with these, you have, if you can get to the point that it's possible and do it carefully, you can salvage them, and it's a fairly significant amount of resources that you'll get from them. Now, I don't know what other mechanics there are in the mods for capture rather than like destruction and salvage. I haven't played around with that. I think I took the hacking computer mod off my server. I think it was having some issues a while back, and so I just decided to remove it. And my apologies that the welding is so bright. I mean, I can't do anything about it, but it's a little bit over the top sometimes. But I think what I need to do now is, this is just kind of be randomly placed in the middle somewhere. Here? I think here. So what we're going to do here is get out to about that point and do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then do this. And we're going to start kind of doing a solar farm out here. Now, my intention is to make this massive. I don't, off the top of my head, remember how many solar panels the mod that I'm using starts you with the resources for. That should be in range of that one. What does it need? Steel plate. So I'll queue up another 2,000 steel plate. We're gonna burn through our iron resources that we just gathered real quick here, I think. But I do have a spot marked now, so should be okay. And I don't have any other resource nodes marked yet, so that has the potential to be a problem. So here. And from there. And then here. Okay. So right now what I'm doing is just kind of planning out the base here. What I envision most of this remaining area here being, up to maybe about that first build and repair, is a hangar area for, eventually, for our mining ship and this thing, and then maybe one other small ship that's more of a combat kind of ship. That's what I'm envisioning this area for, mostly. Then the underneath area, I'm going to put 4 more cargo containers, like I talked about, some oxygen tank storage, maybe oxygen generation as well, because I'm not sure that there's going to be space in this main production area for that. My plan is to wall off / glass off the this sort of back area here, maybe from about this point, or maybe from about a little farther forward. But anyway, so we've got some work to do here. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the recording here, and I'll get back to you when I've got a little bit more done. Alright, hello everyone, welcome back again. I wanted to do a bit of an update on progress we've made. As you can see, a big chunk of the floor is getting ready to go. Whoops, that's not what's supposed to go there. So we'll quickly finish that off, and then I have something else. Well, maybe I'd better show you that first before it despawns. So I don't think we looked at the transport courier in the last episode at all. So we're gonna go take a look at one. I haven't seen this one before. This one's very high up in the atmosphere. Oop. And it despawned. Okay. Well, we got a brief look at it. Let's go take a look at the support transport, or supply transport. I think we looked at it in the last episode, but I don't remember what it looks like. Those merge blocks? I think those are merge blocks. And it's got a small bridge area there. It's not very well defended. It might be worth, if we could very carefully... So, one of the scripts I have, or mods, I guess, it's mod and a script, that I have installed on this particular server is the smart turrets, which you can tell it to target, like, just turrets or just engines, or, you know, a variety of components on a ship. And that might be worth experimenting with, trying to salvage these. Because if I can take down, especially on something like this drilling platform, which is also really high up in the atmosphere for some reason, if I could just take down, you know, like all the turrets on here. Now, there'll most likely be some collateral damage. I wouldn't be surprised if I knock off the drill bits. But the drill bits aren't necessarily where the most components are. It's definitely in the engines and hydrogen tanks and whatnot. But if I can knock off just the turrets on these ships, that's going to be a significant amount of parts that I could bring in. So we'll have to experiment with getting a ship up and running that can take, you know, some sort of gunship up and running that can take those on. But anyway, I want to quickly finish off the floor of the base here, then we need to go get some more resources. So I think we'll explore the planet, and I'll take you along for that. But for right now, we're going to quickly finish this up. So the base is coming along pretty well. That's the wrong thing. The base is really doing pretty well here. Something tells me our iron resources are getting low. Nope, we're still pretty good. Okay. So Tim can sometimes be a little stingy with resources. Whoops, I didn't mean to fall down here. So as you can see, we've got the bottom of the base going here. I'm just gonna leave this as snow, basically. But anyway, got a door here that we can come in and out of. So yeah. But anyway, so these, I think I'm gonna do this every 2 or 3 blocks. I can't remember how long the whole thing is, and it looks like I have it set up to be every 3 blocks. Okay, that makes sense. So, and that's just, you know, for support. And I think what I might do is at the very top, I might put a turret there and a turret there on either side, and those would be like anti-fighter kind of flak turrets, mostly just to defend the base from, I can't remember. So the mod author is for Corruption Mod. His name is Lucas, and I don't remember what his I can't remember if that's also in his Steam tag thing, or whether that's just his name that people, he goes by on, streams and stuff. We need another 100 computers here, I think, and maybe another 2,000 steel plates. Anyway, he has updated the mod so that at least some of his drones, anyway, are atmospheric capable. Now, I know they work on the moon. I don't know if they work in atmosphere. I think they may be... I think it's possible that he set it up so that they don't come... voice crack. So that they don't come to, like, the starting planet. So that they wouldn't attack me here. Which is, that's cool. Fine. I think that's possibly how he has it set up. Silicon, we still have most of what we started with, so I'm not too worried about silicon yet. We've only found dense iron. Now I also have a mod installed called Better Stone, and so it has things like the dense iron, and then a bunch of resources that are named differently. So like it has taenite, which I think is a mixture of iron and nickel, unless I'm mistaken. I'm not 100% sure on that. Some of the names, I know for a fact some of the names are like scientific ore mixtures, and some of them are, I have no idea. I don't know if that's a scientific name or not. So, I'm not a geologist, and I don't work with minerals in general, so I don't know, and I'm not going to make any pretense of knowing. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead, I got a few steel plates from grinding up that block, so I'm going to go ahead and put as many down as I can, and we're out. So the objective here is going to be to get as much of the base up and running as possible. My idea here, I guess, yeah, I'm definitely going to expand that up. Anyway, my idea here is going to be to get kind of some of the wall level stuff up and running as quickly as possible here. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do about hangar doors. I may just leave that open. I'm not sure. I don't have any mods installed on this server that have large kind of hangar gates installed on them. Anything like that, so. But anyway, how are we on resources? Cobalt's low. Iron's pretty good. Uranium is low. What are we missing? Metal grid. And large steel tube. So I'll let that finish things up here real quick. So yeah. Alright. Let's go resource hunting. Now what are you missing? Look in the base and see. There is nothing currently in the red, so that means everything should be theoretically finished. Alright. So, I am limited on resources, so this ship overpowers itself real easily. Now, if you notice the different color thrusters, I'm using the tiered engine super pack, and I'm using tier 2 thrusters right now, which means that they're more powerful, but they take more resources to construct. It's definitely a mod that's worth it. Because it's a way of balancing the need for better than vanilla thrusters, in my opinion. to get better than regular ion thrusters, you essentially have to go hydrogen, and that is incredibly resource intensive for most, especially for solo players. For players playing with a group, not so much. For example, like Wasted Space with his uncooperative survival, or Captain Shack with his group survival with Textfire. You know, it's certainly not as big a deal. Here we might have some resources. Not as big a deal for them as it is for me, simply because there's 2 or 3 or 4 of them. Iron and 1. What about the other one? Iron. 2 iron nodes. Okay. Okay. So we'll park right here between them. That auto-locked. Okay. Now I have another mod on called Ore Auto Pickup. Which means that I'm automatically going to pick up ore that I mine here. Which it's real handy. A mod I would recommend. We're gonna mine some ore for a minute here, get some resources. Now I have a better iron mine set up elsewhere than this one, but in this case I'm kind of cherry picking here. So this is regular iron. The node that I have elsewhere is called dense iron. And Space Engineers is being kind of pissy and not wanting to pick some stuff up, so. But, so I'll go ahead and mine as much iron here as I can. Now again, like I said, I started in a, essentially a quick start. So I started with extra resources, but I didn't give myself so many resources that I'd be able to, instantly build a ship and get off the planet. I just wanted to skip some of the very early game basic stuff. That was the purpose of giving myself some resources. But again, now I have to go mine my own resources. So, what the purpose of gathering some iron is here is so that I have enough resources to go build a small mining ship here shortly. Because that would make these kinds of nodes much easier. So I think what I may do for that, possibly, is go into creative mode and design it, and then use a projector here to build it. Because that's much easier than trying to fucking dinkle with it live. I mean on the holodeck. Not creative mode, the holodeck. But anyway. So I'm gonna ditch a bunch of that stone, and it should despawn eventually. And that's the problem with some of these nodes here, is that you kind of don't have an alternative to picking up resources you don't need. That's also the disadvantage to that automatic ore pickup mod. But, especially for mining in space, I'd rather have it than not have it. Just because it makes life much easier. So hopefully those will roll down the mountain and get out of the way. Okay. So another run or two here, and that'll be enough, I guess. So in this case, I'm kind of picking the low-hanging fruit, per se, with what ore I'm gathering. Because that dense iron is a much higher volume of ore that you get when you mine it. And so it's much more efficient than something with just regular iron is. But this is much easier to get at because that iron node that I have is like 100 meters underground. So it's that's one of those things in this game you have to really be careful about prioritizing. What do you need immediately, and what's the easiest way to get it? That's the question to ask yourself. Even if it means getting it in small quantities at a time, what's the easiest way to get it? And in this case, the easiest way is to go to that rock and hand mine it. But anyway, so we're gonna head back to the base now with our resources, stick it in the refinery, and that'll be about the end of the episode. So I think in the next episode, more of the base will be at least shaped out, constructed out, and then I don't know, at that point we'll probably start ship designing. I don't know, it may be, it's probably actually a higher priority to get a mining ship up and running, so that's most likely what we'll do next. Especially now that we have a few more resources. Ooh, that might end poorly. Okay, we're okay. Anyway, so now that we have a few more resources, we'll probably be okay. Landing gears are locked. We'll be okay to start getting some other things up and running. I want to put like glass paneling over that. And that sort of thing. Now this, since I have yield modules installed, this is going to actually give us a little bit more ore than it would normally. I highly recommend, if you can, do 2 speed, 2 yield. But if you can't, if you need to conserve power, do 2 yield and 2 power conservation modules. I don't know what they're called. Power efficiency, I think. Modules, definitely worthwhile to put those on there, for sure. Because that'll just give you a ton of resources. That way, as opposed to, you know, kind of scrounging for stuff as much as you can. But anyway, so we've gotten a big chunk of the base completed. We've got a little hole in the center here that I'll finish up at some point between now and the next episode. Probably after that, we'll start doing some oxygen and hydrogen storage and generation underneath the base. I think that's where that's going to go. Because that'll protect it from, well, most likely protect it from me crashing into the base with a ship. Because that happens more often than it should. Oh, and one other thing that I didn't mention. Hear that? Shields. The ship has shields. Now, they're not super strong. As you can see, they went down right away. But hopefully, if I just bump the ship on the ground or something, that means that it'll survive well enough that it won't explode. That's another mod I have installed. And I just had a little bit of resources to build those. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And I'll see you in the next one.